Philadelphia sports must fundamentally change now because we've reached a new status. You can say it took too long to get here. I'm not going to disagree with you a bit. It did take too long to get here. But we've gotten here, and we have to adjust a lot of things. Negedelphia must die. Negedelphia must die. We now see it's possible not only to have the best team in the world, but go out there and be dominant against a dominant team. You see, there were people at the time when the Phillies beat the Rays, and some people are too young to remember this, where they took off points because it was the Rays, because it wasn't the Yankees, because it wasn't the Red Sox. No one can take anything away from stopping a three-peat against a two-time champion. And they kicked that team's tail. So now you got to look at it. Jeff Lurie, in the beginning, with Ray Rhodes, and even at times with Andy, he was accused of being cheap. He was accused of a lot of things. Now, he now has to be looked upon as one of those top owners, one of those top know-what-they're-doing type guys. Howie Roseman, we know how he came out the basement. Turns out that first Super Bowl was flukish. This one, as real as it gets. You got to now call that man a genius, and you got to put him right there with Dombrowski. You got to put him above everybody else. If you want to put him above Dombrowski, I don't care. Howie Roseman's now one of the gold standard executives in this city's history. And when we look at other executives now, we got to question, was that person as smart as we thought? I now look at Joe Banner Joe who? Howie turned out to be way better than his mentor. Way better. Nick Sirianni. Am I going to look at Nick Sirianni the same way I look at Nick Sirianni, completely different now? 2 Super Bowl appearances already and a win? He's a made man. Now, we will continue to critique him going forward, but we can never take away that he's done more than anybody else ever. We got to look at Andy Reid's tenure different. Why couldn't Andy get over the hump when he was here? Nick Sirianni could do it. We got to look at things really different. Jalen Hurts, I got to look at Randall Cunningham different. I got to look at Donovan McNabb different.
I'm embarrassed.
I even got to look at Nick Foles differently because Jalen now's done it a couple of times. Booty wrote a great thing today. It's time to say it. Jalen Hurts is one of the best QBs in the game today. We couldn't say that about Nick Foles, no disrespect, and we said it about 5, but when did 5 get over the hump? When did 5 have a game like he's had in both his Super Bowls? Talking about Jalen Hurts. We got to look at this different. He's reached another status. He's risen the bar. Lane Johnson now, starting right tackle for 2 Super Bowls? People, there's times where NFL does their top 100 list and he's not on it. Are you kidding me? He's a Hall of Fame guy. We got to look at this different. This Eagles defense has me changing everything about my childhood. Listen, I loved that defense when I was a kid, led by Reggie White, Buddy Ryan, and Bud Carson. I loved it. They did squat. They won squat. This defense was number 1 in the league, then goes into the postseason, wins the Packers game, gets the big stop against the Rams. You saw what happened against Washington with all those turnovers, and then they take the GOAT and de-GOAT him. He was the GOAT going into the game, and now all the talking points on Mahomes is no longer the GOAT because of what the Eagles defense did to him. Meanwhile, I used to have to watch mediocre quarterbacks beat that defense in the playoffs. They didn't go take it. Everything about our status has to change now. This is not Negedelphia. This is the city of winners. And this team has shown that Philadelphia can be at the top of the mountain if we just allow it to happen and we get the right people in place, Ricky Bo.
Yeah, and the proof is in the pudding. When you think around, you listen around Philadelphia, what are they talking about now? They're talking about a possible dynasty now. Have you heard this? You heard? I'm sure you did. Right after the Super Bowl, you've been hearing that, which tells me, guess what? We're no longer being kicked around anymore. As a matter of fact, Philadelphians are starting to look at our team as something special, and that's exactly what they are. You can look at the talent. As a matter of fact, you think about where we were with talent, and I'll say even in the summer, we would have said the Phillies were number 1, we would have said the Sixers number 2, Eagles number 3, and the Flyers. Right now, it is sitting at Eagles, Phillies, Sixers are still there. They're hurt, and then the Flyers.
Yep.
And you could do that with everything. Do it with the GMs. Howie is now on top of Dombrowski.
Gotta be.
And I'm talking Philadelphia. I cannot send this all around to where Dave has been.
Right.
But I will say this much. Howie Roseman, my goodness, just look at his resume. I mean, there's so many things that you can't even bring them up, but his resume has been sparkling, and this team has shown that. But the talent has also done the job under the coaching staff. Where is Nick Sirianni now? He's ahead of Rob Thompson.
It's got to be. He's got to be.
Do you believe this?
He has to be.
Think about you're talking about turnarounds. Think about what has happened in the last 6 to 8 months. This turnaround has happened. The Eagles are the king of the crop. They've always been the king here.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, now all of a sudden it's branching out. Now all of a sudden this team is bigger than life now. And in my greatest opinion, we should no longer ever think about being an underdog.
I completely agree.
No longer think about being that team that's going to sneak up on anybody anymore, because guess what? That's not happening anymore. We've heard this before with the Phillies in the 2007-8 when they were doing that run. They are no longer the hunters. They are now the ones being hunted. And what do? You have to step back up to the podium. That's what you have to continue to do. I think this team is good enough. I think everything that's in place is extremely well done. And I do have to say, it does start with Laurie. It starts with Laurie and goes all the way down.
Works all the way down. 610-632-0975. And fans, you got to step up to it away. We have to look at things differently now. When we make our demands, it's no longer scrappy guys. It's talented guys.
It's a different story.
It's different now. We have to change who we are. It's no longer the city of Rocky. We're the city of Saquon. We're the city of Jalen Hurts. We're the city of A.J. Brown. We're the city of Lane Johnson. We're the city of Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell. This is who we are now. It's real. It's no imaginary anything. We're not the Broad Street Bullies in that way. We didn't have to fight our way. We went and out-talented a team that everybody in the country picked. So 610-632-0975. Word of the day is status. We must fundamentally change how we are as Philadelphia sports fans and look at our teams differently going forward.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching our YouTube. If you want to help us out, go ahead and like and subscribe for us. If you liked what you saw, go right over here to our playlists and pick out whatever you want to watch.